Yes, 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 yes. We're here. We are here. We are here. We are here. And we have been prompted once again by the vehicle to notice our prompting to her, to be able to help assist those, we want to say worried some parents, but it really is humanity in its totality that has got worries. And so we would like to assist you all today to be able to help you understand what some parents can confuse the situation and call their children picky eaters. But we also want to say, and we want to talk about food in general as much as we can with this connection today. And so we invite all of you to think about your own behaviors and attitudes towards food and the rituals of food and your comprehension of food in general. We are checking this vehicle to see how it is being maintained in itself. We are saying that the dairy consumption of the cream she has with the coffee should be eliminated. I mean, she knows this, and she is willing to be of service, to be able to help assist all, including her own self, with her own body. And that is perfect. And we recommend this. But of course, you can use your free will to choose as you will what you need to do for yourselves, being responsible for yourselves and how you maintain your vehicles. This is your responsibility and yours alone. And when you explore the nature of your tastes, your palates, your taste palettes, your taste buds, your desires, your routines, and your habits. Some of you we see are doing daily routines that no longer serve you. Now, for this vehicle, the cream really doesn't serve her. She's addicted to ice cream. This should not be a surprise to any. But she limits herself with the ice cream because of the sugar content, and she is trying to have a cleaner style. She's trying to divorce herself from sugar in general, from these. So there is that, as she would say. The vehicle is saying we were supposed to be talking to all about children, and yet it seems so far we have merely been talking about her. And we say, from our perspective, she is our child. While it's not trying to be condescending, we are advanced dimensional beings watching her use her free will choices in the third dimension. And you say that children, you reference children as being younger versions of self. You reference children as being young and inexperienced in terms of the ways of the world. And there's many aspects that we could use the analogy of a child in terms of the vehicle who is speaking through, as she's still maintaining her ways of the world. She's still exploring the ways of her world and empowering herself through the ways of this world. And that is perfect for her to be exploring this. And of course, we can always give her suggestions, hints, nudges, and our own perspectives from how we are perceiving the body and the reactions to the energy and what is going on for the body through her free will choices. And so, while we see you all as our children, because children are fragile, needing more support, needing more guidance, and are not quite fully independent. And so this is a reference point. While we all one, while we all come from the same source, as you would say, and at a soul level, we're all the same age, as you would try to understand who's older and who's more wiser. From our perspective, we have got more of a scope of what's going on for your planet and why, and what's going on for you individually and why. And so we're not prying, we're guiding, and there is a difference, we say. we say with much love. And so the vicar was wanting to be able to understand the relationship with children who seem to be more sensitive to food. And there is many parents that are over worried that their children would be called and classified and considered to be picky eaters. And so we're saying to all adults and to all people, to all humanity, your relationship with food does need to be reviewed. You are blindly trusting many individuals to be able to even create the food that you will be able to buy in what we could say is mainstream supermarkets. And think about what we've just said, mainstream. Just like your mainstream media, your mainstream medical advice, whatever seems to be mainstream is for the masses. And what's going on for your planet and for your humanity, for the masses? Is it got the agenda of empowerment? Or is there something else? And we say, just like not to judge a book by its cover, you shouldn't judge food by the shiny wrappers and the fancy advertisements and the cheap prices. You must use your discernment into feeling into what fuel you're going to be providing your body, which is housing your soul. And while you want more clarity in the body, more energy in the body, you don't want the body to be spending its time trying to filtrate out chemicals, heavy chemicals. You have concoctions within so much that you eat, and even those who hope that they're getting good food sources through what you call organics. We say, unfortunately, there is much less true organics out there. And the definition in itself of the labeling of itself, organic, can be disputable. And we say this unfortunately because we know many of you want to trust your full organics. Many of you try to grow your own foods and vegetables, and that is great because you can energetically cleanse the soil, energetically nurture those plants and honor the plant energy. You can honor the water, the fertilizers. You can even honor the insects that are involved in the pollination. There is much to be said about the ecosystems of your gardening. We want to be able to reassure you, though, whatever you are consuming that may be tampered with, it is not to your highest integrity, for your highest good, shall we say. You have much protection. We have profoundly upgraded the humanoid bodies to be able to filtrate out much that doesn't serve you. We are aware of all these systems. We are aware of what has been occurring. And you're also aware of what is happening to the bodies. And as you know, that there is this transitional phase and stage that many of you are feeling into, where you are merely outside of the body. The body is functioning the best it can. You're saying the body feels very heavy, very sluggish, and not as energetically driven and motivated as you would like. And we are saying it's because you truly are almost not detaching yourself so much from the body as such, but you are a distance from the body as you are trying to start getting used to more being adjacent to the body in terms of your mindsets. Your consciousness is already overflowing from the physical body. You catch yourself where you are thinking intuitively within your mind's eye shall you say, you're out of the body. But then when you try to catch yourself and think about it, the ego will reference point it as your mind. And we are saying often you are residing above, shall we say, the head. But it is, if you want to reach your arm up above your head and where your fingertips lay, that kind of seems to be where your actual consciousness can reside when you're not focusing on where it is. So it's above, hovering. It's expanded upon and out, it's splurging out of even the body's vessel. That is perfect. It's fine because you're large energy vehicles. But the physical vehicles that you represent to each other is merely humanoid meat suits. You know this. But it is expanding upon that even now. And so when you are going into the body, the physical body, it feels so much more sluggish because you prefer truly to be outside of the body. It is energetically lighter. It's not as dense, and you can be more grounded, ironically, outside of the body and be more in neutral. And that's where you find your meditative states. Many are trying to go deep within, and so they're focusing on the body, holding on to that body. You are not the body. Honor the fact that you consciously are more comfortable outside of the body, next to the body, above the body, if you will. It's when you hyper focus on the actual body itself. This is when you feel very dense and you're noticing all of the cricks and cracks and aches and pains as the body is. It's very heavy, very, very heavy. And when you're trying to go within, we see many people having this problem that they can't balance themselves or ground themselves or relax themselves within the body because they're very focused on and fixated on the body. This is a novelty factor because they're not used to having bodies. They are consciousnesses that are very capable of not having physical attachments, such as a body. And so for those souls who want to have this novelty experience of being physical as a way of expressing the soul, to verbalize, that's novel. To feel, that's novel. To eat, that's novel. And so we're getting back to point, as we promised the vehicle we would eventually. When you have such advanced souls coming in to be here to be of service for humanity, they will look as you will judge them as being children. However, they are more capable of harnessing high frequency energy than some of you who are trying to focus and fixate on the bodies. Children are so naturally attuned to higher frequency. They are very sensitive to sensory in general. There is much that have been trying to impact the physical bodies, which then can impact the clarity of the soul using that body. There is much to be said here, and there's much labels that you could throw in here to this conversation, but we're going to keep it simple so you don't have assumptions of what we are speaking about. Be open-minded to all labels and all classifications of children that may not seem to be mainstream children. The desired approach for humanity is to be empowered individuals. But are you aware of what that even looks like or seems like or feels like energetically and physically? And so we're saying to you that advanced souls who are coming here with the novelty factor of being physically human, there is many things that are novelty factors for them that they intuitively are guided to. Many children would prefer to have raw food, uncooked. The shape of the food and the textures of the food is very significant, and even the color in itself, because there is an energy frequency that is occurring within the food itself, and that child, as you would call child, is very sensitive to it. They would not pick up a utensil such as a knife, a fork, or a spoon. They will grab with their fingers and sense out and feel energetically all that needs to be felt into with all of their senses, whether this is food that is appropriate for their systems or not. Parents find it frustrating that one day a food is a favorite and the next day it is not, and they can't ascertain why. It's the same food the parent demands. Why do you not want to eat it today when yesterday this was your favorite? The children cannot explain this to the parents themselves, but we want to use this opportunity to explain it. It is not the same product. One has been altered in one way. You've bought different products. You think it may be. We want to say broccoli for this example. One of those items was uncontaminated and the other was. We are saying energetically the imprint of a worker who worked on that broccoli. It wasn't the grower, it wasn't the soil, it wasn't the seller, it was a stockist, it was a shelver, it was someone who moved the item from the storage to the shelf. The energy field is not pure intentions. The energy field is full of what you could call residue from alcohol fetal syndrome as a child, which has then caused an addiction of drugs in their adult lives. And they are very dense and harboring and shedding lots of negativity to that vehicles to the broccoli itself. And so we are showing the vehicle this. Well, it's the same supermarket, the same box of where the storage of where the broccoli is. And they were both collected on that day. It was one worker had filled the unit of broccoli and half of that had been sold. And then the next worker came and added onto that bunch of broccoli to make the broccoli box full. The owners of the store like to have boxes of full items, so there is no worry of shortages. And so this is just one example of why foods seem to be chosen one over the other. And this is not something that has happened recently. This is for the vehicle and her child. This happened what we would perceive over a year and a half ago. And so the vehicle was curious because she's like, why are you showing me this as if this is a recent thing? And they are showing her this is a conversation, an example of an experience that she had quite some time ago. But this is a great example to clarify why children pick and choose foods out of what seems to be, from the parent's perspective, as complete randomness. And so we're saying this is a beautiful example of why you must cleanse all food Some people say it's a prayer. Some people would call it something else, what you do to energetically heal the food, remove any density from it, because many hands have been in touch with that food. It may not be physical hands actually touching the produce. It may be the driver who is driving the food from one place to another. There is much in terms of the chain stages, cycles of where the food from the seed has grown to be then in the supermarket. And so there's many energies, including energies of people who have just walked into a store. And so as you are shedding all your energy, sharing all your energy, having ripple out effects, we say it goes both ways. High frequency ripple out energy fields and also density can impact and ripple out itself as well. And so while we don't want to try and scare you or worry you, we're trying to clarify what's going on. But you seem to forget all of how you are super connected to each other and how this web of connections and interactions occur. And when you're talking about something so sacred as food, you should be mindful of all that is going on and interacting with merely what you perceive as fresh, organic broccoli. And so we are just scanning to see if there is any more clarification we can say about this, because it's not just for broccoli, it is your fruits, obviously, as well as your other vegetables. And we are saying it's about portion. You must be aware of the actual true portions that your body needs. You may think that you need 3 square meals a day, whatever that clarification of quantification means for you. But look at your palm of your hand and think about the true original size of your stomachs. There is correlation between the original sizes of your stomachs. The stomach is a fascinating thing because it can extend out and you can force expansion upon all of your systems in your lower and your large and small intestines. Such fascinating things that you can do with the bodies. And so we are saying, when you're drinking more water and taking some time out in nature, this does fulfill you energetically. There is other things that you can do to honor the body, but you would be surprised to know actually how much fuel the body needs. And we are saying you can be so much more kinder to your physical bodies. And this is part of loving thyself. And this is part of loving others. We still see people thinking that when you give sugar, processed sugar in the form of candy or sweets, as you would say, to children, we understand that you're trying to treat them. But see what it's doing to their bodies. See what it's doing to their teeth and see what it's doing to their moods and their insulin levels. We are saying many children and many adults are on the borderline of what you would call diabetic. The systems that are monitoring these truly are outdated. And we say, as humans, you love labels and names, and when you don't understand things properly, or even if you think you do understand things properly, they get associated names and labels to be put into boxes to be understood in that way. And we say, you are so delicately advanced in your bodies. It's your mindsets truly that are controlling it. And if you're starting to worry because someone has told you that you've got high cholesterol, It's amazing how much worry you'll add into your energy fields because of this label, this statement, this fear. And so it's interesting as many spiritual awoken people aren't afraid of death. They're not afraid of the shift and evolution. And yet they may have some sticking points that might be of interest for them to explore what their underwritten, undersurface old habits of thought processes. They're still not sure how much sleep they need. They're still not sure how much water they need to drink. They're still not sure of how they are physically processing, how they are physically able to ground, and what truly is their body's desires and needs. They may be having assumptions about dairy products and even meat. And we are saying all of this should be explored. And we say many of you could have full sessions of this personally yourselves. This does get overskipped by many practitioners who don't want to explore what their clients are eating because they trust, and it seems rude to inquire dietary habits and systems. As Dolores would have said to everyone, you explore the medications that the clients are having in case there is antipsychotic medicines that could be blocking the connection between us and the clients. It doesn't seem to go further in terms of questioning the clients in terms of recreational drugs and dietary habits, including water intake, including how one spends themselves to ground and take time out to recharge energetically, mentally, and physically. And so there's so much that can be explored in these sessions to be able to check not just your mindsets and how you have perspectives, but also how you're maintaining the bodies. We understand this is challenging as you're in this transitional phase of trying to merge out beyond the physical 3D vessels to be used to having a more lighter way of accessing and expressing oneself in the crystalline bodies. So there's much to be said here, and it is important to explore all of this. We understand it's so tempting to be able to get and seek information from us about other events that are coming to your planet and to impact people to awaken even further. And that is interesting as a collective for that information, which is there ready for you when you want to explore it. But it would be advisable to be able to make sure your inner work and even your physical work of understanding how to use your body, not just physically, but spiritually and emotionally, mentally, as you're human, and what that qualifies and explains for you while you're being of service here. It is marvelous times to explore all of this. So be tempted, very seriously tempted to understand what is going on for you in all aspects while you're here being physical in the 3D. We're just scanning to see if there is anything else we wanted to express to you all in reference of what we were requested to share. We see many people trying to press upon children their belief systems, their agenda, because of what they have been taught. And we would like to say with much love and reminders that the children here to teach you. And yet many egos of humans are trying to impress upon, and we could say almost disempower and confuse the children who are here to teach you. And so explore this as you will. And when you are noticing children in your daily lives as you are interacting, acknowledge those souls because they are struggling to empower themselves and keep in alignment and attunement to their natural frequency, as many, in quotation marks, helpful adults are trying to press upon earthly facts and histories and way of living. So we will leave this with you. Encourage and empower yourselves to the most that you can think of, and also empower and love others as well. Explore all concepts and routines and behaviors, as we have said to you before, and catch yourself if you have not explored certain things. Those things that you may be avoiding quite possibly are the routines that you can drop. And we say this with love and appreciation for all of those who are wanting to empower themselves to be of service for humanity at this very auspicious time. And we say this with love and appreciation for all.